It's Thanksgiving week, it's the cheat sheet. My name's Peter Schrager. Let's get right into it. Number one, fly, Eagles, fly. What? Am I really talking about a 5-6 football team that lost to the LA Chargers 2 weeks ago on their home field? I am. I like what the Eagles are doing. It is hard not to. They have now rushed for 200 or more yards the last 2 weeks. They're the number 2 rushing team in the entire NFL. And what they've got going on with that quarterback, he is using his legs in a way that no quarterback currently is doing in the NFL. Jalen Hurts right now has 5 straight games of 50 rushing yards or more, and this team just gobbled up yards on the number 1 rushing defense in the entire NFL last week when they went for 240 yards against the Saints on the ground. Consider the offensive line. Jordan Mailata is an absolute beast. He was a raw project a couple of years ago, and now he looks like he is Jeff Stoutland, the head coach's Frankenstein with what he's got going on there. Lane Johnson, Jason Kelsey, Driscoll, they are pounding opposing defensive lines, and they're moving the ball. Here's what I also like, the schedule. Schedule, yes, look at the Eagles' schedule. They don't have to get on a plane the remainder of the season. Their only road games left on the entire schedule is in Washington and against the Giants this weekend, and then at the Jets. Like, they then play the Cowboys at home, they play Washington at home, they play the Giants at home. The Cowboys are the only team with a winning record left on the slate, and by week 17, they might already have either the number 1 seed locked up or their division locked up, and they might be just sitting pretty. I like what the Eagles have going, and I think their schedule is very favorable. They play the Giants this weekend. They're retiring our guy Michael Strahan's uniform, his number 92. They're doing that this weekend in MetLife. I hope it's not a bunch of Eagles fans doing this all over the building, and I can't tell you that it won't be. Number 2, Baker Mayfield is in all the headlines right now because he said that everybody wants to act like the world is falling, but I'm almost more concerned with what happens at the end of this season for Baker. He's a number 1 overall pick. Do the Browns give him a massive extension? They have to decide if they want to do that or not, and they also have to decide how much is Baker Mayfield worth. Fascinating study of economics. You look at the next quarterback taken in that draft, it was Sam Darnold. The Jets already cut bait on that, said we're not giving him an extension, they shipped him out. Then it's Josh Allen, who did get that extension and got a massive one. I can't see Baker Mayfield in good faith demanding Josh Allen's number. So what number do you pay him? Do you pay him what Dak Prescott's making? I can't see that either. The Baker Mayfield conundrum really starts the day after the season ends and how many dollars they're going to commit to him, if they commit to him at all. That's the number 1 pick. What about the number 2 pick? What do you do with Saquon Barkley if you're the Giants? Saquon Barkley has to get an extension. Saquon Barkley needs to go into next year knowing he's financially secure, and yet Saquon Barkley hasn't done really what has been expected from a number 2 overall pick. You can blame injuries, you can blame the rest of the team, you can blame whatever you want. If you're taking a running back at number 2, you better be the best running back in football, and you better be available. I find it really interesting because that draft class, that 2018 one, has Josh Allen, it has Lamar Jackson, it has Quentin Nelson, it's got some superstars. But the number 1 and number 2 overall picks, I don't know where they're going to be playing football long term. Number 3, how about that Chiefs defense? I think it's incredible what the Chiefs defense is doing, and the fact that you got Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Tyreek Hill on a roster, and the best unit is actually the other one. And how they did it is actually really interesting too. You know, we saw this team the first 5 weeks, and the Bills were scoring 1 million points on them. The Ravens scored 1 million points on them. Derrick Henry, I think, just scored another touchdown on them. That was all the first few weeks of the season. Then a switch happened, it changed, and Steve Spagnuolo's unit suddenly has gelled together to be one of the best units in all of football. They haven't given up more than 13 points in a month, and they're on their bye week now, and they're kicking back, and they're like, wait a second, are we the best unit in all of football? And here's what it is. Frank Clark is finally healthy. They acquired Melvin Ingram. They were aggressive. They got a pass rusher. Oh, they also made a change. Sorensen, who's been a long-time beloved player for the Chiefs defense, is kind of replaced by Juan Thornhill, who is a younger player and is actually playing better than he was. You get back Frank Clark, you get back Tre'Davious Ward, and suddenly Chris Jones has 3.5 sacks, and you're like, wait a second, what happened to the Chiefs defense? Personnel matters. Spags is calling the plays right, but I gotta say, they're healthy, and the right players are in the lineup. Chiefs defense, I don't think it's a fluke, I think they're for real. Number 4, how about some love for Lovie? Did you know Lovie Smith is the Houston Texans defensive coordinator? Did you know that 63-year-old Lovie Smith, after being the head coach of the Bears, after being the head coach of the Buccaneers, after being the head coach at Illinois, is now David Culley's defensive coordinator? He looks awesome. He's got a great beard, but he's also coming off maybe his best week in years. The Houston Texans, with very few players that you can name on their defense, just took care of business against the #1 seeded Tennessee Titans in the AFC. And they did it in their building, and they did it led by defense. 4 interceptions. 3 of them would lead to the ball being deep in Titans territory. And like Lovie Smith's unit came to play. It's very easy when you're a 1-win team to walk into a game against a heavily favored squad and say, let's just mail it in. Lovie Smith's boys played, and I'm happy for Lovie Smith. This is one of the most beloved guys in the NFL, and I don't know what this year is with the Houston Texans. It's David Culley and Lovie Smith, and I'm not sure they're back next year. But I'll tell you this, for 1 week, Lovie Smith's unit were as good as any defensive unit in football, and Lovie called all the right shots. 63 years old, Lovie Smith, I see you. What a performance, knocking out the Titans from their win streak that was 6 games going into this one. Number 5, how about Colt McCoy? I don't think Colt McCoy is going to start another game this season. I think it's Kyler Murray's after the bye, but Colt McCoy kept his Cardinals atop the NFC in the seedings with 2 wins, both of them on the road, in San Francisco and then in Seattle. And I love this factoid I got from the Cardinals brass that Colt McCoy is the only quarterback in the NFL of all the starting quarterbacks, including Seattle ones, to win a regular season game up in Seattle in 2020 and to win a regular season game up in Seattle in 2021. Yes, he did it with the Giants last year, and he's done it with the Cardinals this year. Russell Wilson has not won a game in Seattle this season. He's got the Giant 0-0. And Geno Smith, who does have a win in Seattle, did not win any last year. So in the weirdest of stats, Colt McCoy, who ironically wears the number 12, feels very comfortable in front of the number 12s. Beat them last year, beat them this year, only quarterback to do it in 2020 and 21. And Colt McCoy, enjoy your seat on the bench. Let's get Kyler back up and running. But you went 2-1 and won 2 games on the road, kept your team afloat. We see you. And that's the cheat sheet for week 12. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. Hot take, not a turkey guy. Are you?